It was wonderful to see those of you who came along to the Developing a Career Strategy workshop. And for those of you who couldn't make it, we had a great event where we heard from 7 fantastic mentors, all sharing their perspectives on what's worked, hasn't worked for them throughout their career. So it's worth catching up with one of your colleagues on the programme to get some insights and a bit of a download over a coffee. I want to talk you through the Career Strategy Toolkit. So if you haven't got a copy in front of you, hit pause, go onto the portal, print a copy off and bring it back, and we'll go through it. So on page 1 of the toolkit, we've got some great tips there around how to prepare for your career plan. And if you think about the one-to-one coaching sessions we had with you at the outset, where you went through some self-reflection, thinking about what success looks like for you, what you're good at, what your development areas are, what you enjoy doing, what you don't enjoy doing, that would be a great starting point for thinking about what's important for you for your career plan. I want to talk to you more specifically about page 2 of the plan, and on here we've got a career timeline. It's a reverse goal setting exercise to help you think about where it is that you want to get to and the different steps that you might take along there to get all the skills and experience that you need to get to your ultimate career goal. And I appreciate for some of you that's really clear and you know where you want to get to, and for some of you that's less clear. But the idea of this tool is that it's a very simple exercise to help you think about what some of those gaps might be. So even if you don't know exactly where it is that you want to go to, there are some questions on here that might help you think about the different experiences that you need to pick up along the way. So I started thinking about my career when I was about 28, and I'd probably been in HR for about 7 or 8 years at that point, and I'd got to that juncture of where do I go from here. So I realised that what was important to me was I'd discovered coaching and loved it. I had a real passion for it. I liked helping people on their development journey, helping people to be their very best. I really enjoyed relationship management. I really enjoyed listening to others. I really enjoyed the whole development side of HR. So that was kind of my starting point. So if you think about step 1 on this toolkit, for me, although I didn't know ultimately where I wanted to get to, I knew that what was important to me was that I wanted a role where I would be coaching. I wanted flexibility because at this point I was thinking, at some point I want to start thinking about a family. So I wanted a bit of flexibility there. I had always had an aspiration to have my own business, so that was an important factor for me as well. So although not complete clarity on where it is that I wanted to go, I'd got some idea around what some of the fundamentals were for me. So taking a step back then, so step 2 is what's the role that you might be in before that ultimate role. And although I didn't 100% know what that ultimate role was, I knew that yes, it was around coaching. So step 2 for me was thinking about what was that role I needed to do before being self-employed, before being a coach. So as an HR generalist, I needed to specialise. I needed to understand all about leadership, about training, about coaching. I needed to build some credibility. I needed to be coaching some senior leaders. I needed to be understanding how to run a business. So they were all of the kind of different factors that I needed to think about for step 2 and the kind of role that I would be looking for. So step 2 for me was definitely a specialist role, and actually I ended up doing a leadership and talent role in RBS at that point. So taking a step back from that, step 3 is the role that you would do before step 2. So what was the role that I did before my head of leadership and talent role? And it could be that was the same role. So, and for me it was, because I really needed to get a great depth of knowledge in leadership and talent in order to have credibility. So in step 3, I had moved into my leadership and talent role, and I was starting to work out, gaining an understanding of all the different external factors around leadership and talent that would take me forward to reach my ultimate goal, to have my own business. And at this point, I was doing things like thinking about reaching out for a mentor, reaching out to specialists in leadership and talent, and really getting a depth of knowledge and understanding that would give me the credibility I needed for the future. So taking another step back. So step 4 is what was the role I would have been doing before that leadership and talent role, or whatever it is that is important to you, and what's going to help you on your career journey. So step 4 for me was an HR business partner role, because I was an HR generalist doing a consultant type role, and I needed to gain some credibility with senior leaders, and I needed to have the opportunity to use some of those skills around team development, coaching senior leaders, understanding a bit more around a business, and thinking about all those different kind of factors that were important to me, so that I could then have the credibility to step into a leadership and talent role, which was my role before that in step 3. So step 5 is where you are now. So at that point I was an HR consultant, and I was working on projects in the kind of talent space, and I was working on change projects, and getting a bit of program management experience, which again were all things that were going to help me get to where I wanted to be in the future, and certainly help me get the next role, all things around raising my profile. So at that point in step 5, I was thinking around, okay, so I need a mentor. I need a mentor that's going to help me understand ultimately what it is around executive coaching that I need to know. So I reached out to an executive coach, and she was able to provide me with all the insights and the training and everything that I would need to get to where I wanted to get to. I also made sure that any of the projects that I was working on were around leadership and talent, so I was starting to build credibility to help me get further along my overall career plan. And I thought about the qualifications that I needed to do. So at that point I did my coaching qualification. So at step 5, appreciate for some of you that's going to be clearer than others as to where it is that you want to get to, but it's really an opportunity to think, where am I now? What do I enjoy doing? What's good about what I'm currently doing? What don't I like? What are the kind of things that are going to help me in the future? Even if I don't know what the future looks like, if I go into a leadership role, is that going to give me more bandwidth? If I go into a project role, is that going to give me the opportunity to go somewhere else in the future? So it's thinking about what are the different skills that I need to pick up along the way that are going to help me wherever it is that I ultimately get to. Step 6, this is where we're kind of now starting to drill down into what are the core skills and experiences that you would collect along the way. So this is where, for me, the skills and experiences that I needed in order to move into my next role, which was the HR business partner role, were to raise my profile around a senior audience. So I needed to, one, do my coaching qualification. I needed to get in front of some senior leaders, so that I'd got enough credibility to move me into the HR business partner role, do some high profile projects, some program management. So these are all the kind of skills and experiences that I wanted to gain from being in that HR consultant role with a view to moving into an HR business partner role. Step 7 is thinking about, right, what are all the skills and experiences that I needed to collect as an HR business partner to move me into leadership and talent role. So again, this was very much around raising my profile. At this point, I got myself a mentor who would help me think about how can I build credibility around a board table, how can I influence senior leaders. I also got myself some external support, again mentors externally, who would help me build on my leadership knowledge so that I could come across as an expert and have much more credibility that would then propel me forward into the leadership and talent role. I also again started thinking about qualifications, and at this point I did the Myers-Briggs, so personality profiling, which again would help me move forward into my specialised role in leadership and talent and give me everything that I needed to apply for that role with confidence. So step 8 is then the skills and experiences that I needed in that leadership and talent role. So again, I very much used my external network. I would get myself out to lots of events and workshops and build lots of external knowledge that I could then bring back into the organisation, raise my profile with a senior audience because I was bringing lots of external insights in. Again, I reached out to a mentor to help me with the support me around a board table, because I would be having to, at this stage, having lots of conversations with senior leaders at a kind of CEO type level, and I needed to make sure that I was able to influence, I was able to think on my feet, I was able to have some of those challenging conversations. And then moving forward through the steps, so now on to step 9, what were the kind of skills and experiences that I needed here in order to help me going forward to have my ultimate working for myself, being a coach, having the kind of kudos and credibility that I needed for that. And this is where I kind of really started to think about, right, what's the commercial knowledge and support that I need here? Do I understand a P&L? How can I get that kind of support and insights? Making sure that I was doing some team building events, making sure that I was designing leadership programs and doing this all on my own and getting the right profile for doing that, and making sure that I was coaching senior leaders. So at this point I was working with a very senior audience in RBS, and I was helping them navigate their way through their career. I was doing some talent stewardship, which meant I was working with the exec in RBS and helping them think about their career steps and their skills gap and development areas and where they would ultimately get to. So I felt as if I was doing all the right things to propel me forward to my ultimate goal, which was to work for myself. And then in step 10, so here I am now, where I have got my own business, I am coaching, I'm very happy, I'm very passionate about what I do, and the kind of skills and experience I need here is to continue to develop myself. I need to make sure that I'm always adding value to the people that I work with, so making sure that on a day-to-day basis I'm up to date with all of my CPD, I've still utilised a mentor, I've got my own coaching supervisor, I'm making sure that I'm going on to lots of development workshops myself, and continuously developing myself. And I'm very happy. And I've got to the stage where this works for me now, so very different to some of the mentors that you saw last week. I work part-time, I work 3 days a week. I wanted the flexibility to have time with my daughters and time for a career. It comes with its challenges, and obviously there's some compromise involved. You know, I'm not doing everything that I could possibly be doing from a career perspective, but I've made that choice, and I think it's all about acceptance, and it works well when you manage to stay present in all of those situations and give everyone your all. And this works for me now, but actually when my daughters are both at school, I review my career plan. So I'm 4 years into this ultimate, I've got to where I want to get to, but next year I'll be in a very different situation, and I'll be thinking about what are the next 10 years. So the importance of having a career plan is that it doesn't stay static, you keep working on it and it keeps evolving. Now on the final page of the strategy is how you create your overall strategy. So on this toolkit, the final page is all around how you create your overall strategy. And that's really, how do you move yourself forward? So what are the options that you have currently? What's your will to get there? Who's going to support you on that journey? And obviously we've got some great support on the programme. Plenty of people to help hold you to account and to help you get to where you ultimately want to get to. So I hope that's all made sense for you. But if you've got any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon.